Welcome back to Without Shortcuts. Today we are taking a look at one of the most used and yet easiest to get around shortcuts that you can possibly use, and that's pancakes.
Now, we're a little off from ordinary in a lot of ways, but one of the things is we generally tend to keep buttermilk in our refrigerators just because we use it a lot for pancakes and biscuits and cornbread, and we find a ton of uses for it. But pancakes are something that can be done with or without buttermilk, and whether you use it or not, they come out absolutely great.
Right. Now, you can't make a meal just out of pancakes.
I can.
Well, all right, that's fair. Most people can't just make a meal out of pancakes, so we're going to show you a couple of other things. We'll film a couple of shorts. We're going to take a look at some blueberry syrup, and then we're also going to show you guys the right way to make bacon, which is just a little bit harder than it seems. We've got the syrup going. We also need to get the bacon going, and it's kind of the same story as the syrup. You know, you'll see it in the background while we're making pancakes. There will be a short of it that you can take a look at.
Making pancakes from a store-bought mix is super easy and super convenient, and really you can get a pretty decent quality product out of it. So we're going to at least taste test against what we consider to be a pretty good mix.
Right.
But it is definitely tough to beat this convenience. Let's see how easy this one is.
Right. So, mix,
water, whisk, and pancake.
right. I'm going to get started on our buttermilk pancakes. Now, there's only a few ingredients to these. This is a really simple, really good recipe. This is so easy, a 10-year-old can make these, I promise. So we're going to start with 2 cups of flour. We need 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda, and then about a half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to give these a good whisk real quick just to make sure everything is mixed together. And then we're going to get going on our wet ingredients. So we need 2 eggs, alright, so we're going to beat those real quick. Okay, so 2 eggs go in, and then we got 2 cups of buttermilk. And then optionally, we can add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla, which is not really optional because vanilla is delicious, especially in pancakes. All right, so then we're going to whisk this all together. You only want to take about 10 seconds to whisk this up. Any more than that, and you're going to start developing gluten, and that's going to kind of get away from our fluffy pancakes. So we'll give that a good whisk. Everything out of the whisk. So the batter's going to look really lumpy. That's okay. This is going to sit for about 10 minutes. That's going to give the flour a chance to hydrate. And then what that's also going to do is going to get our acid from our buttermilk, our base from our baking powder, get those together, and that's what's going to start making some carbon dioxide and give us those big fluffy pancakes that we're looking for.
So like we said, we want to make sure that we're doing a recipe that doesn't have buttermilk because not everybody has that on hand all the time, and we want to make sure that when you want pancakes, you're able to throw them together. So this recipe is a little bit different in the fact that we don't have a specific measure of flour to start with, but we'll get to that in the end. The reason for that is because depending on how thick you like your pancakes, because we don't have a leavening agent, we don't have a chemical reaction to lift these pancakes up, we need to kind of adjust it for what our personal tastes are. So we're going to start with 1/3 cup of sugar. We're going to add our 2 teaspoons of baking powder, our 1 teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to add to that our 1½ cups of whole milk. And then we're going to add our 1 egg, which we will whisk up just a little bit. Add it into our mix. And then, just like Brian said, you can't skip on vanilla. We're going to add at least a teaspoon to this. We spill a little extra in it. Nothing hurt there. I'm going to get this together. Normally you wouldn't add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients and, you know, kind of do this all out of order, but for this recipe, we'll make it work. I'm going to grab my flour. I'm going to start with about 3/4 of a cup. Let me mix that together and see where I'm at. Okay, I'm going to need a little more than that. So that puts us at 1 cup, and that'll put us at 1 1/4. There we go. That's going to put us at just about the right consistency. This will make fairly thick pancakes, pretty similar to what we'll have from the other 2 recipes. So we'll let that rest, same as the others. Let it combine, let the flour hydrate, and then we're ready. We're going to start putting these on the grills and taste them up, see which one we like best. All of our batters have rested. We're ready to start putting these on the griddle and cooking them up. The first thing we're going to do is, just for our own edification, we're going to make one from each batch, and even though we're probably a little bit of a biased source, we're going to taste them, compare them, and just see which one that we like best.
That's right, and we will try to keep an open mind. So our griddle is preheated. Whatever you're using to cook the pancakes, whether it's a griddle like this, an electric skillet, cast iron on the stove, you want to make sure it's preheated before you get started. You don't want to put your pancakes onto a cold surface. So we're going to start with the buttermilk pancakes. And then we're going to throw the scratch made without buttermilk pancakes right here in the middle. Alright, and then we'll get our pancake batter from the mix on the end here. Alright, so we'll let those sit for just a couple of minutes. You'll notice the edges start to dry out. You'll get a few bubbles coming up through the surface, and that's when you'll know your pancakes are just about ready to flip. Our pancakes are cooked. They're looking good. They're ready to come off of the griddle. So Doug's going to pull them off, and then we'll go ahead and taste these and see what we think.
Alright, so again, we've got our buttermilk pancake, our non-buttermilk pancake, and our store-bought pancake. We're going to grab a couple of forks and give these a shot, see what we have. We're going to go ahead and start on our left with our store-bought pancake here. It's not a bad pancake. It tastes a little floury. It's a little flat. It's fine. It's not something I'm going to seek out.
Right, but I mean, when you think of a pancake, I mean, that's what comes to mind right there.
Absolutely. All right, so let's try this non-buttermilk homemade version and see what that has. So this one's definitely a better texture. It's a little bit lighter.
Right.
That little bit of vanilla makes a huge difference. Realistically, you could probably add some vanilla to the store brand and it would bring that out a little more. But it's definitely better,
Right.
and certainly serviceable.
Right. It's a little bit of a flatter pancake. Again, like Doug was saying before, there's not that leavening agent in there. You don't get the reaction that creates the carbon dioxide. You can play around with the flour ratios just a little bit and see if you get a little bit thicker pancake. But, I mean, all in all, it's not bad.
All right, so let's try the buttermilk pancake here. See, that pancake just tastes like going home.
Right.
I mean, because it's got flavor to it, it's got that little bit of zing from the buttermilk. Mm-hmm. It's got the vanilla flavor in it. It's not overly sweet. You can taste how much it's risen just from having that chemical reaction.
Right.
Just, I mean, again, probably a biased opinion. I think it's, no questions asked, the best pancake on the plate.
Absolutely. Yep, for sure.
Definitely worth the extra work.
Definitely. You can get a decent pancake out of a mix, which is probably why it's one of the most commonly used shortcuts that there is out there. That being said, we've shown today that with just a few ingredients, you can get a phenomenal pancake that blows those out of the water.
So once again, put a little bit of time in, make sure you've got the ingredients that you need, and put everything together and just make a good quality product. You're not going to regret it. It's absolutely going to be better. You're going to know exactly what's in it. You won't regret it. This will be well worth your time.
Absolutely.
So please, give these a try. Tag us on Instagram or Twitter. Show us what they look like. We'd love to see any variations that you might have or any suggestions. If you've got another recipe that you like, throw it down in the comments and we'll take a look at it. We might even make a video to show, hey, we've been corrected and we found a better recipe. We'd love to hear about it. Whatever the case may be, let us know. And until then, skip the shortcuts.
That's right.